So the young Lin Hwai-min, age, how old were you at this time?
20.
20. What a handsome young man. And this is before you were really dancing.
I was a writer at that time, and I always wanted to dance, but I never had serious training until I came to Iowa City at a writer's workshop. And it requires all the students to take a second major. And of course, I took modern dance for fun.
So the International Writers Institute at University of Iowa is so renowned. Tell us a little bit about that experience and the dance that you discovered there.
I was a crazy kid there because I start choreographing about 1 month after I took my first modern dance class in Iowa. And my teacher, Marcia Thayer, who was the first violinist at 16 in Seattle Symphony Orchestra, but then she ended up as a dancer. And after looking at the choreography, she sat there for quite a few minutes. I was frozen. Maybe she didn't like it, you know, crazy kid. But she said, I don't know how well you write, but I think you should go to New York, forget about the writer's workshop, and I will find scholarship for you. And I said, no, I owe my parents a degree. So she presented my work. This is my first work. I choreographed in Iowa City. It's to Joe and Jones music. It's called Willows Are New. What's so important and so inspiring to me is at that time there's no money and we have to make our own costumes, to dye, to do everything. And then after a formal performance in the university, a big theater, over weekends, the teachers and dancers will pick up in few cars and we drove into the cornfields and to perform in very shabby community centers for the farmers. And
this work, Willow Anew, was you performed in the cornfield and for the farmers?
No, it's in the community center of the farmers. Everything is really very primitive. They sat there and looking at this, and I don't think they understand anything, but they had a good time. And I remember in one of the performances, I see a hen leading all her chicks parade in the aisles of the audience. And that's a very important experience, very inspiring. That affects what I would do when I go back to Taiwan.
So you go back to Taiwan, and in 1973, you start a dance company?
72, and we have formed the company Cloud Gate Dance Theater, and the premiere made our debut the next year, 73.
And then this woman showed up.
Oh, yes.
Not just any woman.
I didn't meet, okay. In those days, I took two June courses in 71 and 72 at the Graham School, not very far from here. And, oh God, those were killers classes. After you take 3 or 4 classes a day, and until you cannot climb up to the second or third floor, just totally exhausted. But I never met her when I was at the school. At that time, she was not there. But then she took the company to perform in Taipei for the first time. That's 74, and after a welcome dinner, I was invited because I'm from the grammar school, so the host invited me, and she said, I want Mr. Lin to translate for me when I do the after performance, when I do my lecture, my speech on stage. That means translate for Miss Graham, who doesn't speak a human language. You know, what is theater was a verb before it became a noun. How are you going to do things like this, you know? So in front of 2,500 people in the auditorium, I pulled it off. Why? Because we founded the company and I said, there are two things. We are going to perform for the general public who are not familiar with the theaters. And second thing is, we are going to create works coming out from our own culture, not imitation or reproduction of New York or Paris. Well, it's easy to say, but then I thought I would retire and hang it over to the dancers. I thought they started when they were 10 or even 6. They are the artists, and I know nothing about dance. And the way I thought is, I had no experience at all about dance, about choreography, about how to run a company. So there are two books, I read them like Bibles. I mean, one is a grand autobiography, and the other one is Ba Langxun's biography. And they taught me everything. And that's how I poured love through that lecture.
It's amazing to see you and Martha Graham.
Nobody believed it. I mean, because Ron Proto kept telling her that, Martha, you never want to have an interpreter because they think they will make things wrong and all that. But somehow, it's historical for me. I was so scared. And by the time she was about to leave, I saw her off at the airport. She pulled out all her Taiwanese money, put on the table, say, save it, take it and save it for the rainy day.
That's amazing.
I was just going to say it's a very small world because Martha Graham is one of the founding choreographers of the American Dance Festival, which was founded in 1934 in Bennington, Vermont. But then we went to Connecticut College, and then we made our way to Durham, North Carolina in 1978. And that very first summer in North Carolina, we were very privileged and honored. I was not there yet, but that Lin Hwai-min was an artist in residence that first summer. And I'm listening to you talk, and I'm constantly so intrigued by the intensity to which you pay attention to detail. So the Hin, the Martha Graham, the constantly absorbing, and just so you know that he had started the company already, and it was multiple years later that he came and was in residence for a very extended amount of time at the festival, thanks to an incredible grant that you got from the Ralph Samuelson, who was instrumental in so much of what's happened with cultural exchange.
The JDR III Fund, it was called at that time, John D. Rockefeller III, who was the founder of this institution as well, and which is now the Asian Cultural Council.
Yeah, so there's so many overlapping, but you came and you were in residence, so he's already formed the company and he's coming to be in residence. And if you don't know anything about ADF, just really quick, We have classes all day and performances almost every night, and it, at that time, was 6.5 weeks long. So I think it's just amazing that you put yourself in another situation to observe and participate.
Wow. It's Zhang Qing, my teacher, who taught me Chinese things. Very difficult. Have legs up here. You have to go get to legs up here in order to do whatever she taught me to do. She knew I was in New York, so she talks to Charles, and they went up to ACC. No, JDR third. Right. And so that's how I end up at the ADF. At that time, the reason I was in the States, that's 78, because I was wondering, I have self-doubt. I think I should quit. Maybe, but at the Duke University, it's hot as a desert, and the people sweat every day because of the dance. And I saw the variety of modern dance. I saw the dedication of those senior teachers. It's an inspiration and a reaffirmation. So, and Charles even invited me to perform there, that is a solo of mine.
So could you introduce Charles?
Yes, please.
Yes, I would love to do that. So Charles was the director of the ADF for 43 years, and he was my mentor since 1992. He passed away this past summer, but he and his late wife, also Stephanie Reinhardt, were very instrumental in taking the festival global. And they were interested in sharing modern dance and American styles and techniques, but only as an introduction for people to then take and develop their own styles based on their own traditions and culture.
And I'll just add a little story, an anecdote about Charles in terms of Asia Society. In 1961, Isadora Bennett sent him to a festival in Tokyo that was called the East-West Dance Festival in 1961, where he saw a very young Balasaraswati and thought, this is an amazing dancer. And I think it really started him in some ways on a global path. And he worked, what I've neglected to say is that he worked for the Asia Society at that time. So it's so interesting as we talk through these journeys, how often they intersect.
Yeah, and he met Balasaraswati. We established an award for teachers to honor her incredible legacy. We've developed programs and relationships with, probably over 50 countries. So this invitation for you to come to ADF was just Charles realizing the opportunity to share and let someone take as much or as little of ADF as they wanted to.
And that was 1978. And ADF recognized your work with the was it the Scripps Award?
Yes, so we established in 1983 the Scripps ADF Award, which is for lifetime achievement in modern dance. And again, it's sort of a full circle story because the first recipient was Martha Graham. And in 2013, we gave the award to Lin Hwai-min, and he is the first Asian choreographer to receive the award. And we are just very honored that Joe Malillo, who's in the audience tonight, formerly with BAM, came and did the beautiful introduction for the award ceremony.
So we'll get to more of those interconnections and the long history with BAM and Asia Society. This is the piece that you did, Legacy, right?
No, this is Hanshi.
Oh, right.
That's what I perform at ADF.
Is that you?
Me and the miles of fabric.
Fabric will be coming back.
And then that year, after ADF, I went home and almost immediately I choreographed legacy, which is a homage. We pay respect to the pioneers of Taiwan, our ancestors. And, well, that's the first theater production ever inspired by the history of Taiwan. Because at that time, our government wanted us to believe that we are just Chinese, no Taiwanese. Anything Taiwanese, you will be suspected as Taiwan independence. I realized this only when a month before the premiere. So we booked the theater in Taipei, but I moved the production to the south to avoid those eyes from the censors. I don't want all the members of the Cloud Gate will be invited to have tea. So we moved down there, and there's no theater. So we rent a gymnasium and set up a theater in gymnasium.
Sorry.
This part is called the crossing the Black Water, which is the Straits of Taiwan. But indeed, the Taiwan was in the Black Water. The work, in the early morning of the premiere day, President Jimmy Carter announced that the U.S. would sever the diplomatic relationship and start to make friends with Beijing 1 month later. And what it means is U.S. was the big brother and everything we count on them, and all of a sudden the carpet was pulled off from the feet of all the population. And it's just by pure coincidence that we performed it that evening, and the audience from nowhere, because there was no theater. I don't know how come these people would come to the theater, about 6,000 people. They yell and they scream and they cry along with it. At that time, we are not well rehearsed. So it's really the group energy of the audience push up to cross the Black Water.
I mean, it's so powerful, and if that's what they look like unrehearsed, I'd really wonder.
No, this is a later version.
Oh, I see.
Because it's only about 6 weeks, I pull off the 80 minutes. That's my first full length. And that's the work that make Cloud Gate become a company of the people. Because during that chaotic time, company performed this to many, many places. And thanks to Jimmy Carter that nobody invited us to have tea.
You know the code for tea, having tea.
So let's see the audience. Yeah. I don't
So
know
what
where
was
they came
this
from.
space?
This is a gymnasium. And we just built a theater. We bring our floor and the lighting booth and everything and put on the black drape, and we do. And that affect the company strongly because from there on, we go and create our own theater, every place, because there was no legitimate theater yet. So we are very close to the people. And this, Jimmy Carter saved me in many ways.
You know, that 6,000 people showed up for that first program says so much about the kind of power that dance had and how it was magnetic to people, people wanting to come together and to share what you were, that vision that you were creating around.
I think we thought that if we were not performing that, what are we going to do that evening? You know, and we're so happy that at a moment, at such a tragic historical moment, that we bring people together and somehow we cheer up one another. So it's stage and the audience and the performance, we're really together. And we just went on, and that work performed for many, many years, and it even have a La Bang notation kept in the notation bureau here.
Like we need to bring that here so we can have audiences that big in the U.S. It's quite incredible, despite what was happening, that many people were going to show up for a cultural event. So I think the deep way that you are making your work so that it resonates with the people. And again, I've heard you say in interviews that you're not only always watching movement and people, but you're constantly watching audiences. So I hope I have that right. I heard it in an interview. I don't know if that is true, but do you feel that? Because you're connecting on a very deep level with your audience.
Because that's what we set out to do. We didn't know that it would happen so quickly and in such a dramatic way. And yes, and as all the companies, we are not financially well. And, but it's people, that audience, they will come to pat on your shoulder, say, well done, okay? And the cab drivers, at one moment, Cloud Gate was disbanded. It's 1988. And when I escaped again to the States and other countries, and when I went back to Taiwan, I got into a cab, and the cab driver asked me why you disbanded Cloud Gate. So I told him that performing arts companies are all very difficult, every country. And in Taiwan, since Cloud Gate is the first professional company, so it's very difficult. And he said he understood. But he said, but Taiwan needs Cloud Gate. And also he said, but Mr. Lin, driving a car in the chaotic traffic of Taipei is no fun. But every profession has its own hardship. So when I got off the car, he pulled down the window and said, "Come on, Mr. Lin."
Now that is inspiring.
In the 19, yeah, it's not inspiring. It's a kick out your ass, you know. And that's how Cloud Gate came back.
I just point out that I've been waiting for a taxi driver to recognize the power of dance, and I take some inspiration from this story, but it hasn't happened yet. But I'm positive that it will.
Well, in Taiwan, it's amazing that cab drivers are very knowledgeable. And when the election came up, you don't read, you don't follow the internet, you listen to them. They have the best information. And they are very enthusiastic.
Now that I agree is true here too. That I agree. So we first met, I think, in 1990.
Yes.
When I was working on the Festival of Indonesia. I remember with Marcia Siegel, and you were at NYU.
Because Cloud Gate was suspended, so I left the country. And I flew around in Asia and Asian countries and ended up in New York. And I often come here. I learned a lot about Asian culture, especially the Hindus, the Indian culture, and also the performances. I learned a lot here. And then, but at the end of my sojourn, I was about to go home, and then I knew that you were going to Indonesia, so I said, "Can you take me?" Yeah, and so Rachel took me along with.
And this is where Joe Malillo comes back into the story. By the way, I was living in Indonesia. I didn't know about BAM, and I didn't know Joe. So my life was changed because Joe came on this trip to learn about the Indonesian arts when we were in Bali, and Hwai-min was there. And this bond of the passion for the arts, for dance, really was something we shared in little villages often. And
Yes, in the little village, yeah. We had a good time there, and Joe was very kind, and we chat, and he knew that this is a choreographer without a company. He said, but if you ever revise the company, you invite me to go to see it if you think that work is significant. So 3 years later, I got 9 songs, yeah?
Yeah, and that's when I was offered the job here at Asia Society. So then you reached out, and we worked together
I
with
remember that at that time, Joe said, "Something you think is good, you invite me." So I invited him, and he said he's coming. And nobody would believe that somebody is going to fly from New York to come to see it. But he said that in the later that I'm very happy to go, but this doesn't mean I'm going to take you and invite you. I have to see it. And he insists seeing the work at the place where the work was created. He said, I trust the audience there. And Joe, my God, Joe liked it. And he decided to invite us. And he said, you should call up Rachel. She is in Seoul, and just 2 hours flight. So I called up, I said, hello, can we have lunch together today? And so who are you? Because I didn't know that it's 1 hour difference. She was still in bed, I woke her up. So Next Wave and Asia Society collaborate and brought the company to the Next Wave for the first time.
So 9 songs is such an extraordinary piece. Let's talk about 9 songs and the incredible sets, your partnership with Ming-Cho Lee.
Yes, this is, I would say, almost like an uncle. When Cloud Gate was 10 years old, it's 1983, our technician said that for the 10th anniversary, we should invite Ming-Cho Lee to come and design. I did not know who Ming-Cho Lee was, but I wrote a letter. That's before the internet. So I wrote a letter, and 2 weeks later, we received a reply. And you know how we got his address? We asked a friend in New York. He checked on the yellow book to find it. And he said, the lady said, come over. Yes, okay, come over and talk. So after our performance, in Paris at Pompidou Center, I really flew over. And his house is really in the 75th, of Fifth Avenue. So we talk, and he said, "I'm so sorry. I know I know the title you talk about, The Dream of the Red Chamber, but I forgot all my Chinese, and I don't read the book, but I will try." And I said, "That's really suspectable." So I said, "Could we go to the Met, take a look, and we check on the colors and things like that?" So we did. So another 10 years went by. That's 93, the clock was 20 years old. So we re-invited him, and he did a wonderful job. In the end, he created about 6 productions with Cloudgate.
These sets for 9 songs were so extraordinary. Let's take a look at 9 songs.
Something. Yeah, that's it. That's part of that's part of 9 songs. I want to tell a story that Ming designed and brought his design to Taipei. So we are going to talk about how to construct it and all that. And he insists on go to the studio before checking into the hotel. So he came and watched the rehearsal. At the end of the rehearsal, he said, "Hwai-min, I'm not going to give you this design and the model." He said, "Because the work is so powerful itself, and I felt this design went into wrong direction. So I'm taking this back." And I said, "You can't. It's beautiful. Would this do that?" He said, "No, I'm going to redo it." And he really did it. The king of design. And I learned lessons from these elders, and see how they are committed and dedicated. This is just a kid in Taiwan, And he said, not for me, but he said, it's for my own integrity. I have to redo it. So he did this fabulous set, and that won a prize. It's Obie, yeah. But then Ming has too many prizes already. But I miss him, especially coming to this neighborhood. And Ming and his wife, Betsy, they're both gone, no longer with us. Ming went away during the COVID, yeah.
But what an incredible partnership, and just the mere fact that you can recognize at this point how incredible it is to have someone as a mentor and a guiding force in making your work not only move, but really speak a language with sets. And it's gorgeous, but the tenderness of the way that you're expressing that relationship is beautiful. And for all of us to remember how important it is to work with people who can be and have more experience, but that you can collaborate on an equal footing.
But the reason I'm sitting here is because so much encouragement, so much help from people that I respected very much. When you mentioned about the Lifetime Achievement Award, Joe came all the way from New York just to give me the award. And Charles, already retired, and he flew over just for that occasion. For this, I'm in deep, profound gratitude. And when I have problem, I dare not say I quit. I'm forced to go on.
I just want to add really quickly is that as much as you got from all of those things, you've given us all so much more to carry with us and to bring the beauty that is such a taste of what humanity can and has to offer. I hope that you know it's a two-way street with the gift that you've been given and the gift that we've received.
Well, as I said, I wonder if I should quit at the ADF, and the ADF make me to tell myself, try it. So, I mean, I no longer feel it's a labor of love. No, it's a privilege to go on and create and perform for people.
That's beautiful. So on this journey, there have been moments, pivotal moments, where you've made decisions. You started with the Graham technique and a kind of Western view, and thinking then about aesthetics and choices about how the body is a part of a cultural story.
Yeah, I mean, like Graham, yes, and the dancers are trained with classical ballet to start with. And I went through different styles, but it's styles that by the 90s, after 20 years after I tried to choreograph, I realized that I have to deal with the most essential part of things, that is our body. And I don't want to fool around. No, I should be honest with this, and what can I do? Things like that. And I realized that East and West is so different. Taking classical ballet, for instance, if we think about the mythology, the Greek mythology, we know the story about Icarus go up with the winds, and then his father warned him that don't get too close to the sun, and he did. Of course, being young and adventurous, and he drowned. Here are two things. That is, it's a thinking and a imagination about going up, defying gravity, go up, and it's very scientific, and with tools and all that kind of things. Can we see the video?
We're going to come to that, but first,
Yes.
there's a spiritual side also, and we're going to look at a little bit of Song of the Wanderers, and then we're going to get to some of that aesthetics.
I mean, yeah, it's right after Songs of the Wanderers, nice songs. I went to India and to meditate under the Bodhi tree where Buddha attended his enlightenment. It's there I feel I was so much blessed. You sat there, you meditate, and you feel something very warm here, and as if somebody is touching you. And you open your eyes, you see the sun through the branch, the gap of the branches, just touch here. And I feel so blessed. And I went home, just create Songs of the Wanderers in 3 weeks. And I don't know, people ask me, what's that? I don't say, I don't know. We just do it. No storytelling.
This was also at BAM.
Georgian folk songs. Herman Hesse's Siddhartha, and a body freshly out of lesson 1 meditation. So there's no movement, but it's so quiet. And I try to achieve something like a river. Yeah.
Such a different feeling than 9 songs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's only 1 year difference. So I always consider it as it's a gift from Buddha, because I work hard. He's a good boy. This time you make it.
It's so beautiful. Can you just share with the audience? It is intentionally slow and mesmerizing. And again, the sets are just visually so engrossing. But the piece is not over when it's over. Can you just talk a little bit about what happens at the very end for people to understand?
After the curtain call, well, after I finished choreographing it, I found we used 3.5 tons of rice grain. And I found whole stage is just the rice, and it's gonna be wasted unless we recycle it. So I asked a dancer, can you come here and make circle? So he did, by himself, and work every day. So he made a circle and finished circle after circle for 24 minutes. And amazing thing is, audience did not leave the theater. They sat watching that guy plowing the rice for that length of time, and people start crying. Yeah.
Incredibly moving, and another piece of art you created for us to take with us.
People ask me why you do this. I say maybe I need it myself. I need that quietness, that simple movement. Yes, and there is him, standing there for 17 minutes. The monk. Keep going, no more.
This was a departure. Yes, go
That
ahead.
departure.
This is portrait of the families. Is that correct?
Yes, in my hometown, we dig out family albums, old photos, and we came out with an exhibition of the old photos. And for the first time, that I was 50-something. For the first time, I saw the photos of our city, our village in 20th century. Because, okay, it starts with my mother's. I found my mother's photo album. She was beautiful in Japanese kimono. And I said, Mother, oh, you are so beautiful as a movie star. And she smiled and put it away. Why? Because Taiwan was colonized by Japan, and Taiwanese were sent to fight against China, some part. So Taiwanese, with its Japanese cultural education, and when after the Chinese government came, that's no. So all the photos, everybody just hid it, just hide it. And so this work starts with all these old photos. And then we, right after about 2 weeks after I was born, that is, when the Chinese government came and the conflict with the local people, so there's a massacre on the 28th of February, and so this work have all the old photos as backdrop, and we have the interviews of the family members of the victims of that period of time. So it's a soundscape like that, and that's a very, and we show it to the people, and people were shocked to see the photos, because that's new at that time. Nowadays, no. Nowadays, it's everywhere. Even butterflies and the birds have their own books about Taiwanese birds and the trees. But so, and nowadays, people will come back to see it and say, "Oh, you changed it so much." And I say, I didn't. He said, I found it so more beautiful because the improvement on the Taiwan became a democratic society, and things are moving on and open up. So people no longer was no longer shocked by that kind of information. So they are not crying anymore, but they saw the performance and hold the breath, but not going to cry again. And so that is the whole society changes. Therefore, the response of the audience is different.
So as a dancer, you're living in a political world, a cultural world, and yet there's also an aesthetic world.
Yeah, that's what the Icarus, right? Icarus falling off. And then in the West, take classical ballet, for instance, it's almost like the buildings in the West, like those in Parthenon in Athens, you know, those pillars are tall. In the pyramid, that line is straight, it's tall. And you study the body scientifically, and then if we're looking at those architecture with a very straight line, like a pyramid, and you get a ballet like this. It's about line, about defining the gravity. But in our part of the culture, we didn't have kind of, in ballet, you say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you plie, and you do it again. No, here you squat down, hold your balance there, squat down 40 minutes, just standing there. You condition yourself. And it's time consuming. It's not make it easier and more comfortable and more reasonable. So we, in all the disciplines, in martial art, in Beijing opera, you know, you hold things like this. 40 minutes, that's the beginning, and you go on and on. So your body is so conditioned, and then you going down and draw the energy from the floor, and you move. And when you're going down like this, your body is free. You can go anywhere, and it's all started from this, and it's very different. And then it's circular movement. In Tai Chi, it's always circular movement. In Chinese character, 1 is horizontal line, but you never write it that way. You write it this way with the calligraphy. It's cursive. So it's like a ribbon dance, but then it's a little bit crazy. I mean, in the West, angels have wings, but coming to China, those flying angels, they have ribbons, just to symbolize the flying. So that is aesthetic. They make it very aesthetic. It's more aesthetic than physical. So even in Beijing Opera, when you lift up, it's circular and to calm down. The emphasis is never staying up there for 2 seconds. And that's a different philosophy. So I invited Qigong teacher to come to teach us. And it's everything circular. And he said, circular movement is the movement of the universe. You see, the earth is circling by itself, so is the moon, and together they are doing this kind of movement again with the sun. So if you stop doing this, it's no good. And then he would say something. He said, Westerners are so stupid. Look, when you do boxing, they're doing this. No. In martial art, you relax, and then you do this. You relax and doing a spiral movement, and that is more powerful. That's what he said, and mostly it's true.
So I'm curious, this is a big transition for your dancers.
Oh, they hate it.
Okay. Can you talk about, like, it's when you see the piece before and then you see this piece, you see a big transition. So, like, how much time was in between, and what was the process to get everybody on board to really...
When we were preparing for Songs of the Wonders, we asked them to sit down, have their eyes closed, and just breathe. And some of the dancers just very happily and frankly just fall away and slip away. And they refuse to do it. So therefore, I have to choreograph something, applying all these principles. So because they wanted to perform, therefore, they work on it. And that's the beginning. That's the real motif of Moonwater.
It's beautiful, and the articulation from the fingers and the hands down to the toes, is that all choreographed, or is that every single, because it's exquisite, but it's very detailed and expressive.
It's from the earth, and you spiral up, and they feel good.
That sense of the reflection of the water and yet the reflection on the top that gives you that also sense of flow. It's incredible.
I really don't know. When I was doing it, I just have to pull it off. and I couldn't find music for that thing, and so I brought in this cello solo played by Misha Maisky, and I said that's just the beginning, and I'm going to how dare I to dance to Bach, and so I decided to use it as a framework, and then afterwards I can use something, whatever, because the strength of the structure is based on Bach, is clearly there. And I really want to do it. And then one day, Trisha Brown toured to Taiwan, and she wanted to meet me and come to the studio. And she saw that, and I told her that I'm going to change it into something electronic or something. She just said that, I don't think you need to do it. So we kept it. It's because of Trisha Brown said that. Save a lot of trouble to find the right music.
The dance community comes together yet again. The whole idea of qi and calligraphy comes into the work starting here, it feels like. Is that true?
Yes, because I discovered that, it's not meditation or qigong, it's everything is the same aesthetic and same philosophy, the same movement. I mean, in qigong, you say you keep doing. When you finish it, it's still going there until another thing coming up, and that's what we're doing in calligraphy. You come here and go and keep going, and then as if you're going to finish, and you lift up. So the teacher always said that when the line finishes, but your mind and your qi is still going on and on and on. I said, my God. So all the beautiful calligraphic work that we saw, it's just the trace of what they are. They were dancing with a pen, and that's the trace of their energy on the paper. So I say, So thanks, Cloudgate dancers, in addition to meditation and qigong and the modern dance and a weekly ballet class, now they study calligraphy.
And Cursive was the first of your trilogy, which I think had its U.S. premiere at ADF.
Came in 2003. So yeah, it was quite stunning. I'm just curious though, if they're taking all these classes, can you just really quickly talk about a day in the life of your dancer? What are they, every day they're taking a class and everything, or?
They do.
Every day?
Every day they take class. But then, in the very beginning, for one point that we do nothing but meditate, or then we just do qigong, and then now then they do bit of ballet, so they are bilingual and trilingual in terms of movement, and then they have to weekly calligraphy class, and they love it, and the teachers say they really move with their body. It's very hard to persuade ordinary people, non-dancers, they like to write this way, but Cloudgate dancers write this way, and they write from the torso in the end. And that helps. And I encourage them to write calligraphy. Is also that in the West, music is so vividly, tightly constructed. And there's a conductor to organize everybody. But in the Chinese theater, is the leading actor or actresses. She leads. And the orchestra follows her. So I want the dancer, they can sing with their bodies as the impulse. They use the impulse from their body just to do it. So the calligraphy helps. So they can write whatever with their torso.
Amazing. So the range of the training is so wide. I remember when you got the Scripps ADF award, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but we weren't sure if we could bring the company or a work that could be performed by one of your dancers. So we had a conversation about, could a U.S. dancer perform a solo from your repertoire? And after thinking it through, that didn't work out, and we were able to bring an amazing soloist from the company. But you have set quite a few works or had works put on other companies. It is nothing like putting a work on your own dancers, but are you open and you're okay with these other dancers doing your work without having that incredible variety of training and similar training? Because I can remember, again, I go back to my mentor, Charles. He sat with Paul Taylor, and we have people here that work very closely with Paul Taylor, and he got to experience Paul witnessing another company doing his work. And Charles says he just like sat there and was frozen and was scared to death what Paul was going to say to him. And at the end, he was like, well, that sure was different, but good. So do you feel similarly about allowing works to be done?
Nobody wants to come and to stand like this for 40 minutes. Just to kick off. Just to kick off. So it's, I'm open, but it's, nobody came to try that. That's the beginning of cursive, but that is how we train the dancer. You use your torso and how you do and the breathing, something like that. Of course, we are not imitating choreography all the way through, but that's how we started. And they can get very complicated. Yeah, each one is different.
It is so amazing to see the calligraphy and feel the dancer is a calligrapher with their body.
Yes. We are not presenting or represent choreography. We know, we can't. But that's where we take off. And that open a new world to all of us. And we are very happy to do it. In those years, we are really into it. Try and this and that. And everything start with breathing and breathing now and all that. It's crazy, beautiful years. We had the honor to open next with this water stands on the wall. It's which you see we use the projection and to create the landscape. And in order to show the landscape, the stage is rigged for 8 degrees. And the dancer, I said, how do you feel? The dancer said, it's like dancing on high hill. But they could, because of all the trainings, they take roots strong, and they really grounded it. And yeah, I love this work.
It is extraordinary, and you can imagine what it feels like to have a raked stage like that and still be able to move in that way. Lucky they didn't have high heels.
So we have a trilogy, and then, oh my God, while we're doing this, Tai Guo-chang came and we worked together, and I said, you give us idea, and I will visualize them. He gave the idea, it's called wind shadow. Both are most intangible element, how I'm going to express this. So this is just part of it. And then and he said, he's crazy. He has a very wonderful mind. He's always crazy. And he would talk and talk, we discuss, and then after 3 hours, he said, I think we have been doing quite fine, but this is not the decision yet. Yeah, so we have to keep going. And then one of his crazy ideas is we should dance on the roof of the National Theater before we open on stage inside. And so I managed to pull it off like this, the next one.
There's something else.
And I even ordered the moon to participate.
So you don't have to get in a spaceship and go up there, you just dance it.
No, it's not dancer. It's really, Tai Guo-chang's challenge is you have to find out ways to conquer everything. Don't say it's impossible. So I don't want the dancers to go up there and then we are going to open it and they get injured or fall off. So I call up the mountain climbing club and found that beautiful beautiful body, and they move beautifully. So that's the lesson we learned. And he always told us that the success is always built on details. And it doesn't count, let's do it again. Let's think it. He's wild. And I wish I could be like that.
Well, you met him there, so I think you had your wild moment. I'm going to skip over a couple things just so that we can get to the next generation, this idea.
Yes.
One of the things that's so impressive is you've never just thought about yourself and your company, but always thinking about the creative force in Taiwan and the next generation of young choreographers and dancers. That's been a big part of that. So I thought maybe you could say a little bit about this generation, and I'll show a few photos from that.
I mean, from the day one, I know this is not my company. It's not Lin Hwai-min and Company. It's a product of the society. Everybody chip in and to bring this, and I want it to be fine. That's why I chose to retire a few years ago, because I want to see the younger generation. They are much better, and they are much better because we, as for runners, we set example and they set the bar, and we become I'll be very proud to become their fertilizer, so that they can grow something different, something new. And there are many of them in their late 30s or early 40s, and wonderful things. Shall we take a look at
Yes, I was going to say that replicates the vision of ADF as well. You know, the idea of who is the next generation.
Yeah, I think we are constantly looking backwards and paying respect and keeping that alive, but looking forward, and some of these incredible people that you're going to show on video, the photographs. Many of these wonderful choreographers have been to Jacob's Pillow and other places, and many have come to ADF, and they are bringing new ideas, fresh energy, technology. So it's very invigorating and exciting, and it's really great that you are behind them and helping support and elevate them, not just at home, but across the world.
I think this is from a former dancer of Cloudgate. Can we see more? Yeah, and this is another one. He danced with Kuka. I mean, that's
The robot.
robot, right?
Robot. He dances with the robot.
And, oh, that's another Aboriginal choreographer. He's wonderful. And he's up and coming. And he's been in the States and booked them.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
And this is really upcoming. It's going to be next in July 18th at the NYU
Skirball Center.
Screwball Center. Mr. Lai is so hot. I mean, the next work he did is called Push and Pull. He won a series of awards in Europe, and among which one of the awards gave him the opportunity and invitation from ADF. No, from NDT.
Yes.
Nation, NDT, that's
Netherlands.
Dance Theater. He's going to choreograph on them, and they're all wonderful.
He is quite extraordinary. If you're here in July, I can't emphasize enough that you should go see him. We did the U.S. premiere at ADF of Birdie. I met him in Korea, and he had only a small section. One of the good things about the pandemic was that we didn't bring him when he only had the section. It gave him time, and he finished the piece, and he premiered the entire piece. But it's this beautiful bird feather, and it's about flight and all the things that make you think of elevation. And it is mesmerizing, both with the movement and the incredible simple set piece on their heads that they dance with throughout.
So that's in July.
In July at the Skirball
at
NYU.
Skirball. And the singer that you heard coming in is also an Aboriginal singer, Saljuja? Is that?
No, I mean, that's...
And she's going to be at Lincoln Center.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, July 10th.
Oh,
Somebody out there, do you recognize it?
Sambui? You are talking about Sambui?
Saljuja?
That's Tibetan.
I don't know, but one of your colleagues
I don't
clued
know.
me in on this.
I don't know. But I would like to say that we have to talk. If I don't talk about Zheng Zhonglong, he's going to kill me. He's my successor. And he has been into the technology.
Yeah,
So we see
all
the
right.
next one. Okay, he played music. No. That one before. I mean, that's Zheng Zhonglong's latest piece. Of course, it's AI. More. Back. Right. Go more. Yeah, so that continue that, then that's... Let's see for Mosa a little bit, okay? Yeah. The last work I choreographed for a Klauge before retirement, it's Formosa. So it's doomsday. Taiwan is an island full of earthquake, typhoon, and disasters. And so about Formosa, we have this to close and to at the end. And as you just saw, the only element of the scenery is projection, and the only material is Chinese character that you can fence the characters, and that compose all the images, and that production, that design won the biggest prize in UK. The same production won Clougate the best dance company at the National Dance Award, UK, and with that, I happily retired.
Great time.
Okay, go back. Yeah. And we perform in villages, we perform everywhere, and in recent year, we created a space in rice fields, and we perform there. And if you wanted to go, you have to stay up because ticket will be sold in half an hour. Yeah, 5,000 tickets. And then we have a new performance, outdoor performance in Taipei and other cities. And normally we get 30,000 people to come and sit in the plaza. And the next one we are going to see is 50,000 people. And that's a very special occasion. That was the last outdoor have my fingerprint. And so they come to say goodbye to me. Yeah, so that's it.
So that's it. So what about this?
That's my first circus work. Make it very sure, I just did it on impulse. And
This is after you retired.
yes, it happened last year.
I just wanted to give a context here.
Yeah. So far, it really surprised me. Through the 40-some years, my work were supposed to be popular, but comparing with this, these are Clougate really peanut. I mean, sold out 45 performances, 80,000 tickets sold, and now finally going back to Taipei, and then 50 performances lined up this year.
This is work you just did this last year?
Yeah, and to be very frankly, I'm moved by the audience, and the audience loved it. And yes, I always say that we should perform for the people. We made an arrangement to go to them, to outdoor free performance, but the thought behind the work, the form, the aesthetic is so far away from the general public. And this work, just by pure accident, they came and they had a wonderful time. And people sometimes ask me if I want to do karaoke or dance company again. I kept saying that I never plan for the future, but then if I have a next life, I would do something like this, not
So you must be in the
cursive.
next life because you're continuing to do this work, and here's a whole new aesthetic in circus.
AI doesn't breathe. They don't communicate with warmth of humanity.
But there will be more circus in your life?
Pardon?
Will there be more circus?
I try not to. I don't think so. I really want to retire.
Okay, I think we have time for 2 or 3 questions. So we have somebody with a mic. We're recording, so if you could just wait, she'll bring it down. And this has been amazing.
Really quickly, was there somebody that said that they were at the outdoor last performance? Did I hear somebody say that?
No.
No?
These are New Yorkers.
Okay, I know, but I thought I heard somebody say that they were there and you got
Yes,
50,000.
In the very beginning, you studied law, you studied journalism. What brought you into the world of dance? And then after you retire, are you still working on your choreographies? Because that's a constant work. And then can you share with us about your raccoon incidents in Central Park? Thank you.
It's what? The last-
Raccoon incidents in Central Park?
Did you meet a raccoon?
I fell in love with dance when I was 5.5 after seeing the British ballet film, The Red Shoes. But we didn't get the opportunity to explore that part. So I started training 23. And then the next thing is I retire, but this is because these kids, these acrobats, they refuse to end up performing in the plaza, in the wind, and they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. They wanted to have a place on stage as an artist. So they founded the company, and they sustained it for 15 years. And they didn't fire or lay off anybody during the COVID. So they are in great debt. So I say, my Lin Hwai-min would sell to make money for them. That's how it started. And yes, 2 days ago, on the sidewalk of Fifth Avenue, I was waiting for a friend to meet me there. It's right off the Central Park, and I see something crawling down the branches, and I couldn't. It doesn't go up, it's coming down very gingerly, carefully, and coming down. It's a raccoon with a face this big and so fat. And then people start taking pictures, and he doesn't care. It just walks slowly and climb up the fence, disappear into the greenness of Central Park. And I think he brought all the sunny days we have today.
Thank you. I'm Sean Lee. I run a new Chinese dance company in the SF Bay area, and we try to tell stories that come from Malaysia and Taiwan and all of these other places that you don't normally think of and how we interact together. And so you were talking about at the beginning of your career how difficult it was to work internationally. And now, theoretically, technology allows us to work internationally a lot better. But how have you seen international collaboration change over time, and how do you think it will go on in the future?
Well, everybody's doing collaboration, international collaboration. I refuse to do it. I mean, I don't like to spend so much time and discussion, and we say yes, yes, but actually you mean differently. And well, from my experience, I just don't have the time and the money to do it. Truly, and international collaboration doesn't guarantee good work. At least I can't. So whenever I get this kind of invitation, I shy away from it. So it's not about the nationality. It's about somebody you really can communicate. Then you do it. Like Chai Guochang and I would just click together, and then he would send me something like black water, black stone, and something like that, and I have to create it. But that's how I chose to learn from the challenges. But also find the right individual, not nationality.
I think we can have one more question right here.
Lin 老师，你好。I saw focaccia at the circus in Hong Kong just a month and a half ago to a sellout audience. Any plan to take that to other parts of Asia or China? Because it was so well received. And I know the entire audience, and you just made us all feel like kids again. So plans for focaccia?
I don't direct the company, but I think they will be very happy to tour. So if anybody is interested, or if all your friends is interested, come to me and tell me, and we can start conversation. Meanwhile, they perform internationally, but not. Can we take it to ADF?
I think we have to.
So we didn't have one more question, I don't think. Oh, there is one right back there.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I'm just wondering, the first work, Legacy, was so politically charged in a moment for Taiwan that was so precarious. And then, Cloudgate has gone on to have this legacy of its own in its own artistry. But you are also touted in Taiwan and internationally as a very representative figure of contemporary arts in Taiwan. How do you juggle, or how have you juggled throughout your career, this balance between being an artist in the world and then feeling this sense of responsibility of telling Taiwan stories and bringing these very, even in the training itself, it's so rooted in like qigong and calligraphy, things that other dancers maybe aren't able to replicate outside of your company. How do you juggle your artistry with representing this culture, this nation, or these political implications? Thank you.
It happened, but I never planned so. And I never commissioned myself to tell the story of Taiwan. I'm telling the story of myself, and I live in Taiwan. And Taiwan it evolves itself every day. And the different way, there's different political things, and there are things, for instance, that last December, we get the most severe military exercise from China, and that's really near Taiwan. The exercise last 10 hours, and 90 flights canceled. Tens of thousands of people get stuck. Well, but that kind of things we kind of take for granted. But then, the next day I read a newspaper. The stock market surged 253 points. Life is absurd. And Taiwan is fragile, like each of us. But then, my God, we elected a female president, and during her term, Taiwan became the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage, and that tells a lot. And I don't know, so here I'm telling you that Taiwan is the story of Taiwan, but when I was choreographing, no. I was desperate to try to find what I want to say. So it's not, and I don't represent Taiwan. How can I represent those people who push up the stock market that day? I really mean that, Taiwan is amazing, but we know that we are fragile. But democracy shouldn't be a crime.
Join me in thanking, oh, is there one more? Okay, one more.
Is there a dream venue for your performances that you have not, you wish that you would do in the future? And also, how do you transcribe your choreography so that future people can follow your choreography? Like, what is the methodology of transcribing the movements for a dancer to follow?
Anyway, Cloud Gay is doing okay. And the choreographer of the wave, you just saw that with that kind of AI thing. He's running company fine. First of all, he loved to tour, to present works in communities and schools and all that. So that's still going on. And this year, Cloud Gay has 27 weeks on the road, touring overseas. And he's too busy to present my own works. And I mean it. He asked me if I'd like to have my work reconstructed. And I said, whenever you feel tired, I can chip in, or you can have a break, and then I will step in to choreograph a new work. Apparently, he's not hired yet. And I mean it, and that's wonderful. And I like to see the company is alive and younger.
So we do have to end it here. Thank you so much. Your generosity is incredible as an artist. Jodee, thank you so much. A big thank you to the Taipei Cultural Center. We really feel like this idea of a legacy is something that is not only thinking about where we've come from, but also going into the future. And I feel like this is very future-oriented. So thank you all for being here tonight, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.